Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the board meeting for November 10th, 2016. We're here today in San Francisco. And if you wouldn't mind, could you move forward so we can see you? And this is a smaller room and we can be more engaged and close. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I am Michael Jackson, president of the board, appointed by the governor in the faculty role. We'll begin with introductions, this time on my right.
Good morning, Pilar de la Cruz Reyes, appointed by the governor in the nurse administrator role.
Good morning, Elizabeth Woods, appointed by the governor in the advanced practice role.
Good morning, Trandy Phillips, direct practice RN appointed by the governor.
Hi, I'm Joe Morris. I'm the executive officer for the board.
I'm Ray Malel, Vice President of the Board. Public member.
Good morning, Cindy Klein, direct practice member, appointed by the governor.
Good morning, Barbara Yaroslavsky, a public member appointed by the Senate.
Would you please introduce yourself?
Michael Santiago, DCA Legal.
Item 2.0, are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? Seeing no public comments for items not on the agenda, move to item 3.0, review and vote on whether to approve the minutes for September 2015 board meeting.
I move for approval.
I second it. Are there any public comments? No public, you have a public comment related to the minutes?
Not to the minutes, I apologize, for the agenda.
We've already moved on from that, ma'am. This is the minutes now. But is this for something specific to the agenda that was?
Yeah, it would be 7.2.
No, we're not there yet. Okay. So we have a first and a second on the minutes for September 15, 2016. There was no public comment. We'll call for the question, beginning on the right.
Pilar de la Cruz Reyes, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Ray Malel, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Cindy Klein, abstain, not present.
Barbara Yaroslavsky, abstain, not present.
Item 3.2, October 4th and 5th board meeting.
I apologize. Excuse me. I thought you were just doing October.
No, we're doing September.
Sorry.
No, we're in the October
I
4th and
apologize. I wasn't hearing correctly. So I need to change my vote.
for September?
For September, I was present.
Okay.
Was I present?
We were both present, so we
both-
are
which-
accepting.
We're accepting, yeah, sorry. October,
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, it's not the coffee, believe me, it's something else.
October 4th and 5th board meeting minutes.
I move for approval.
I second it. Any public comment related to the minutes? Seeing no public comment, call for the question, beginning on the right.
Pilar de la Cruz Reyes, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Ray Malel, abstain.
Cindy Klein, abstain.
Barbara Yaroslavsky, abstain.
Michael Jackson, yes. Item 3.3, October 27th board meeting minutes.
I move approval.
I'll second it.
Public comment? No public comment, call for the question.
Pilar de la Cruz Reyes, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes? No.
Abstain. Ray Malel.
Cindy Klein, abstain.
Barbara Yaroslavsky, yes.
All right. Item 4.0, report on board member activities. Are there any board member activities to report on?
Lots of activity, nothing to report on.
Any board member activities to report on? All right, moving on. Item 5.0, board and department activities. We'll turn it over to our executive officer.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. I'd like to begin with my organizational update, item 5.1 on my report. A copy of the executive office report is made available also in the back of the room for your viewing if you don't have a copy. So in regards to the BRN Sunset Report, the most current draft of the Supplemental Sunset Report was provided to the board members for review. Comments related to the previous draft have been incorporated where appropriate. This would be discussed further and voted on as an agenda item under the Administrative Committee. In regards to public record requests, the BRN continues to comply with public record requests and responds within the required timeframes that are set by Government Code Section 6250. For the period of June 6th through October 4, the BRN received and processed 48 public record requests. In regards to paperless renewal notifications, the board continues to review and evaluate the feasibility of paperless RN and advanced practice renewal notifications as a cost-saving measure. The staff is working with DCA, the BREEZE Business Integrity Analyst, to explore the options in the BREEZE system. In regards to customer satisfaction, recently the board implemented a customer satisfaction survey in which the survey was sent out to RN and its consumers all over the state. That survey was sent out on September 9th through October 15th. Consumers had a chance to respond. Within that short period of time, we had over 21,759 responses. So we're very proud of that. Thank you, nurses and consumers. The survey asks for ratings of the BRN services, processes, and interaction with staff. Data from the survey was presented by DCA Solid to the BRN management staff on October 27th. The responses show that the majority of individuals were most satisfied with online services and the professionalism and knowledge of the BRN staff. More details of the results will be available in the BRN Supplemental Sunset Report. The board will continue to implement this survey on an annual basis. On October 1st, 2016, an email was sent out to all California BRN-approved pre-licensure nursing programs to access the 2015-2016 annual school survey. So to those schools that received the survey, the deadline to complete the survey is November 15th. If you have not received the survey, please contact Julie Campbell Warnick at the BRN or contact your nursing education consultant. On October 7, 2016, the BRN, in conjunction with UCSF, conducted the second annual school survey webinar. The webinar provided information to assist in the completion of the annual school survey. The webinar was recorded and now is available for viewing. Moving on to 5.2, budget update. The BRN change proposals. The board submitted budget change proposal requesting additional staff throughout the department. The additional staff would help with improve the customer services. Also, additional staff will be used to help comply with SB 466. In regards to the fund condition, a copy of the most recent fund current figures as of 9/12 are presented in the back of my EO report. Please note that the fund does not take into account additional revenue projections related to the BRN fee bill, SB 1039, which is scheduled to go into effect January 1st, 2017. Technology update. In regards to fingerprint requirements, the BRN licensing staff is continuously working with the BIA of DCA to identify licensee renewal records that are missing in the BREEZE system. And those fingerprints that are required prior to submission of renewal fees. From September 2nd to present, the board mailed out over 2,400 letters to licensees who have paid for renewal of their license, and there is a hold on their license renewal due to missing fingerprints. The next item on the agenda is video conferencing, WebEx. The board now has the capability of video conferencing. The board will be using the WebEx multimedia software to video conference as a potential cost-saving measure. On October 21st, several managers were able to successfully utilize the video conferencing software during a 3-hour staff meeting, and it was well received. Electronic transcripts. The board continues to pilot the acceptance of electronic transcripts for California schools. We have implemented the cloud drive that was presented October 2016 at the Deans and Directors meeting in San Francisco, and it was well received by the Deans and Directors. We plan to go officially live with this process in December of this year. Moving on to 5.4 of my report, the board continues to evaluate the staffing needs throughout the department. Over the past 2 months, the board has hired 2 permanent staff and 2 limited term staff. Currently, there are 4 permanent full-time vacancies. And as stated in my previous report, the board has also adjusted staff's flex time schedules and have implemented a Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. work calendar to improve customer services. That concludes my executive officer report. Thank you very much.
Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we're moving along to item 6.0, report of the administrative committee. We have item 6.1, review and vote on 2016 supplemental sunset report draft.
Do you have a recommendation?
We have Julie here that's going to give us information.
Good morning, I'm Julie Campbell Warnock. Can you guys hear me?
No, we can't hear you, Julie.
No. No.
It's a little black switch.
Now can you hear? I'm Julie Campbell Warnock. I'm Research Program Specialist with the board. Staff has been working on the supplemental report, Sunset Review Report for the legislature, and the board members were sent the most up-to-date copy of the report. You were sent a draft previously, which we received some comments on and have incorporated many of those into the report. And then another draft was, the most current draft, I believe, was sent to you this morning. And that the only changes to that are to question 1 regarding the malpractice insurance. Some data was added on cases that are reported between different amounts, to give you some data on that. And then also additionally was question 9 related to the fingerprints that was mentioned earlier, the number of RNs that we need to have fingerprinted. There was some data included in the report on that. Other than that, those were the only changes to the copy that was sent to you last week. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there any questions from the board? Any comments from the public? And we're just voting on the draft, so there's still going to be more changes and more opportunity to put your input in. I make a recommendation that we accept.
Second that.
Any public comment? Call for the question, beginning on the right.
Pilar Dela Cruz Reyes, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Ray Malel, yes.
Cindy Klein, yes.
Barbara Yaroslavsky, yes.
Before we move on to the next item,
Question was, what was the draft? The question in the back was, what was the motion on?
To accept the draft report. Who had the question?
Staff.
Comment?
Continue.
just for the record, I want to take the opportunity to just thank Julie and thank the entire staff that has worked tirelessly and collectively to put this report together. Since my onboarding in July, I was informed that we were to complete this report, and the report is due December 1st. And I must say that I'm quite impressed with just the work ethics and the direction the board is moving into, and just the hard work they have put in to complete the draft of the report. So thank you, Julie, and the entire staff for your hard work and efforts, and the board members for your
Thank
review.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, give it up for us. Yes, you deserve, to applaud yourself for that. It's been a lot of work.
And just to clarify, it's a pretty much final draft. I think we've pretty much incorporated everything. So,
Thank you.
A copy of the report is also available. Julie has a hard copy of the report also available if you would like to take a look at it.
When is it going to be available online?
So can we have hard copies too? Is that, may we get hard copies as well, as board members or not? Is that asking too much?
May you get hard copies? We're trying to go green.
How about two-sided paper?
Yes.
I'm going to ask.
We can get you a copy. We can get you a
When will it be available online? Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Moving on to item 7.0, report of the Education Licensing Committee.
Leslie Moody, Nursing Education Consultant, Liaison to Education Licensing Committee. Item 7.1, vote on whether to ratify minor curriculum revision and acknowledge receipt of program progress report. These are items that, according to board policy, NECs can approve. Then they're reported out to Education Licensing Committee and the board. They are as listed in the agenda packet and usually acted upon by a single motion.
I make a motion that we accept.
Second.
Any public comment? We move along with me calling the question beginning on the right.
Alagala Cruz Reyes, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
And Ray Malel, yes.
Cindy Klein, yes.
Barbie Yaroslavsky, yes.
Item 7.2.
Thank you. Item 7.2, vote on whether to approve Education Licensing Committee recommendations. These are items that were reviewed by Education Licensing Committee and have the following recommendations. Item 7.2.1, continue approval of pre-licensure nursing program, California State University East Bay Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, Dominican University of California Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, Mount St. Mary's University Los Angeles Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, University of Phoenix at Modesto Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, Fresno City College Associate Degree Nursing Program, San Joaquin Delta College Associate Degree Nursing Program. Includes as well 7.2.2, approve major curriculum revisions for Azusa Pacific University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, Azusa Pacific Entry-Level Master's Degree Nursing Program, American River College Associate Degree Nursing Program, College of the Siskiyous El Viento RN Associate Degree Nursing Program, San Joaquin Delta College Associate Degree Nursing Program, and 7.2.3, accept program closure for Holy Names University El Viento BS and Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program and United States University Entry-Level Master's Degree Nursing Program. These items are typically acted upon by a single motion unless there are questions about any individual item.
Are there any questions from the board? I make a motion that we accept.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? No public comment. We call for the question on the right.
Alagala Cruz Reyes, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Ray Malel, yes.
Cindy Klein, yes.
Barbie Yaroslavsky, yes.
Item 7.3, vote on whether to approve enrollment increase for Azusa Pacific University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program.
Good morning. My name is Badri Caraway. I'm nursing education consultant for the Board of Registered Nursing in Southern California. To my right is Dr. Renee Poza. She is the Associate Dean, Director of Nursing Program at Azusa Pacific, and she is going to introduce her team.
Good morning. Better? Yeah. To my right is Dr. Aya Tolanerz-Lesh, Dean of the School of Nursing at Azusa Pacific University. And to my left is Dr. Grace Moorfield, and she is Associate Dean in charge of undergraduate programs at Azusa Pacific University.
Thank you. Azusa Pacific University and its School of Nursing is a private, non-for-profit, faith-based university, fully accredited by WASC and CCNE. The program of nursing began offering the traditional nursing program in 1975. And the program is currently offers program leading to BSN for traditional undergraduate nursing, RN to BSN, licensed RN, LVN to BSN, 2+2 for transfer student. Additionally, program is also offering ELM, MSN, NP, DNP, and PhD program. The High Desert 2+2 program is a BSN transfer program. It's one of the options for those students who have completed 48 plus transfer units of general education requirement and wishes to enter the profession of nursing. This 2 years program began in 2010 and enrolls approximately 20 students per semester, 3 times a year, 60 students. At this time, APU has more qualified applicants for this option. They have 60 applicants on the waiting list. They are offering a large amount of a scholarship, as it's indicated in my report. 88 per 122 of their students are on scholarship or some sort of the grants.
What's the percentage? How many?
22 per 100 out of 122. 73 students are receiving Pell Grant and 29 students are receiving Cal Grant at this point. The APU program is currently enrolling approximately 220 pre-licensure nursing program students per year, which of those is 100 is traditional undergraduate student, and LVN to BSN program at Monrovia campuses is 60 students per year. And the 2+2 program at the High Desert Regional Center admits 20 students per semester, totaling 60 students per year, which is in fall, spring, and summer. There are no LVN program currently admitted to the Inland Empire Regional campuses. The program currently is seeking approval to increase enrollment of 2+2 transfer student program from 20 per cohort 3 times a year to 30, which make it, instead of 60 students per year, to be 90 students per year. That's for the High Desert. And also additionally, they are requesting a new cohort of 20 LVN to BSN students, totaling 60 students per year for the Inland Empire regional campuses that they don't have any LVN to BSN. And this is in request of the LVNs, community colleges, and universities around that area. This enrollment increase will change the current annual pre-licensure number from 220 to 310 students per year. And currently there are only 16 accredited LVN to BSN schools in California. This request for the increased enrollment was presented at the education licensing on October 6th, and based on the recommendation of the Education Licensing Committee for more information relevant to the impact of the proposed increased enrollment on the clinical placement of other students from the other colleges and universities. The program, I want to thank Dr. Renee Poza and her team. They worked diligently to provide all of the enclosed extensive documents for you in such a short period of time, which include executive summary elaborating the program collaboration with the other community colleges and universities for the seamless transfer of the ADN to the BSN program, which include Chaffey College, San Bernardino Valley, and Riverside College. The program also provided 21 supporting letters from various groups, community colleges, universities, and also the mayor of the Victorville and the other community partners, which is included in the package. They are all supporting this increase in the enrollment. In terms of the clinical experiences, they additionally provided the information that they are working with the 4 various consortium, which is Inland Empire, San Diego, Orange County, and Long Beach, to ensure that the other students have not been misplaced based on this increased enrollment. The school also went ahead and provided a projected clinical rotation schedule, which shows by course, clinical agencies, and assigned instructors for the spring, summer, and fall 2017-2018 to ensure that all of those are covered and none of the other students will be misplaced. In addition, which is our EDDP 11, usually we request it when we are reviewing the program, but that was additional information they provided. In addition to that one, I have requested to look at those places or clinical agencies that they have more students involved. So they provided me with verification of those forms that will show that they are not misplacing any other students in that area. That's the EDDP 14 that was presented. Based on the review of the support documents, the program meets the requirements for proposed enrollment raises. I want to thank them and thank you. This adjourn my meeting content.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board members?
Can I make a comment? I'd like to make a comment because I see in the report, and I want to thank you because this was one of the things I was concerned about, where you actually comment on where there could be a 60 to 90-minute commute, and the fact that you are planning, and I hope you continue to support, and are intending to follow through on this, about carpools or a school bus van for the students, and I would really promote the school bus van. Because a carpool, once again, has the student that we're worried about being tired and really not being able to focus well driving if you have a carpool. The van means you've got a driver and the students can be, studying or resting or collaborating during that trip. And because we were worried about rest times. So I was happy to see that you have that plan, but please, I emphasize, the van I think is a better option. Carpooling, you're still, where you're good taking a group, but you're still having somebody having to drive that car. But I do like that, and also you said that you were going to try to stay off of the night shift for most of their experiences on evening or day shifts. Thank you for putting this in your report.
Any more comments from the board?
I have a question. How much time are you spending in simulation? Are your students spending in simulation?
Currently, our simulation, students are spending about anywhere from 5% to 10% of time in simulation experiences. We do tie the simulation scenarios to each of the clinical courses so that it connects what they're doing in didactic and clinical as well as simulation. We haven't replaced the clinical opportunities in the acute care with simulation at this point. Simulation is an addition experience to complement what we're doing in the clinical setting as well as the didactic.
Okay. And also pediatrics was not an issue as far as placements?
No, we've been able to secure some good partnerships with pediatric sites at both of our locations. And I also have had significant conversations with the community colleges that are in that area to ensure that we don't impact their pediatric rotations as well.
And what's the average daily census on those peds units?
Yeah. We have the opportunity to be at Loma Linda at the Children's Hospital as well as Antelope Valley. So Loma Linda having a large children's hospital, the census is quite robust. And our Antelope Valley, where we use for the high desert students, the average census there is 10 to 20. So we seem to have had adequate experiences for our students there.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question about your simulation lab? When they're in the simulation lab working, who is supervising them and supporting that activity?
We have a team of both our faculty that are working with the students in the clinical setting as well, so clinical faculty. But we also have a director of simulation who is a master's prepared nurse. It's a faculty member that oversees the experience, and in partnership with the clinical faculty, we'll do the debriefing of the students. And we do have some simulation technicians. Many of them are nurses. We do have a few technicians that have paramedic background or EMS background, and they are more with the mannequin and working the computers, not providing direct instruction. We use master's prepared faculty for that.
Excellent, thank you.
I have a question about how is it divided between hospital care and the outpatient setting?
That's a good question, and I think in recent conversations at our meeting a few weeks ago, we were addressing this as deans and directors of what are the opportunities in the outpatient setting. APU, School of Nursing, has a strong commitment to community partnerships and to service, both community and service being one of our 4 cornerstones at the university. So I think we have a long history of intentionally looking for these types of opportunities, both in clinic settings and community clinics and additional opportunities within the community itself to provide health education, promotion, wellness opportunities for our students. But I think we continue to look for additional opportunities as nursing roles are shifting to the outpatient, and so that is something that we are looking at in our curriculum.
Thank you.
Any comments from the public?
My name is Amanda Hagan, and I'm here representing some of the voices.
Please come up, please come forward and use the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I apologize. My name is Amanda Hagan, and I'm here representing some of the voices of the nurses in the High Desert community. I've lived in the High Desert for 29 years. I currently work at Desert Valley Hospital in the emergency room. I attended Victor Valley College for my prerequisites, and then I was able to attend Azusa Pacific University to obtain my bachelor's. I respect both schools. They both have great programs, but I can't tell you how important it was to me to be able to complete my bachelor's in the High Desert. It's somewhat of a lower income area. I came from a lower income background, and the opportunity to not have to commute down the hill for everything school related was huge. I had looked at Cal State San Bernardino, a lot of other schools. When I was nearing the end of my prerequisites, that's when Azusa had opened, and I was all over it. It was great. Some of the things that appealed to me was the small class size, the faith-based university, and there was no wait list. That was kind of a big thing for me. So, and there continues to be, seems like there's a good flow of students through there. So just a few things I wanted to let you know is that I did talk to, I wasn't aware of the opportunity to come speak publicly, so I had short notice, but I do have a letter from, that's signed by 21 High Desert nurses. Everybody lives in the High Desert and works in the High Desert. They come from backgrounds from West Coast University, APU, and VBC, Victor Valley College. So just some of the points that we would like to make to you guys to while you consider this.
Is your letter in support of us expanding the program?
Absolutely, yes.
I
So-
think that's the direction that the board is gonna move.
Okay.
You can, do you have a copy?
I do have a
of the
copy.
letter?
Yeah.
Would you mind leaving a copy with,
Of
the
course.
staff also?
So, just to summarize the points, since you guys are hopefully leaning that way, just the high desert really does need a lot more nurses. I can't even tell you the deficit that we're facing at my hospital personally. I think there's plenty of job opportunities in the high desert. The last interview, I was on the panel of interview for our last new grad group, and we offered a position to every one of the APU students as well as many of the Victor Valley students. And then I have seen a lot of collaboration between APU and Victor Valley College. I know APU definitely respects the fact that Victor Valley College is deeply embedded in the community and that they've been there a lot longer than than APU has. So I don't, personally, just from the community standpoint, we've never seen any issues between the two schools. And one of the things that you brought up was the commuting. I can tell you that, I did have to commute to some of the clinical sites. And we did the carpool thing, and it was great. It was, time to kind of bond together, review notes as we drove down. That was kind of actually ended up being a positive experience. And I had to do so little commuting because the program was in the high desert. So, but that was my piece. If you guys may.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it was really important to me. And like I said, there was, in 36 hours, I got 21 signatures, so. All right.
Thank
All
you for
right.
the comment on the commuting.
I appreciate that.
That
Thank
was a
you.
concern.
Yeah, I understand. That's it. Okay. Thank you.
Any more public comment? Any more questions from the board members? Seeing no more questions from the public or the board members, I make a recommendation that we accept.
I'll second that.
Any public comment? Call for the question beginning on the right. Oh,
Shall I state the motion in specifics as it will be recorded?
Yeah.
Thank you. So it is to approve increased enrollment of 2+2 transfer student program to a total of 90 students per year at the High Desert Regional Center campus, and addition of a new cohort of LVN BSN students totaling 60 admissions per year at the Inland Empire Regional campuses for Azusa Pacific Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, effective upon board approval.
I make a motion, we accept.
I'll second that motion.
And we'll call for the question.
Pilar Del Cruz Reyes, right? Yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
And Ray Malel, yes.
Cindy Klein, yes.
Barbara Yaroslavsky, yes.
Item 7.4.1. Vote on whether to change warning status for Shepard University Associate Degree Nursing Program.
Everybody here.
Good morning. Mio Minato, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant for the board. The program representatives to my, in the center is Sprina Jung, who is the director of the ADM program at Shepard University. To her right is Dr. Karen Kim, who is a faculty at the university. And to my immediate right is Sue Albert, who has been serving in the capacity as consultant to Shepard University. Just as a background information, summarizing it briefly, Shepard University is a relatively new program, received initial approval from the board in May of 2010. And it's accredited by Accrediting Council for Independent Colleges and Schools, and by the BPPE approval to offer ADN degree. as you know, ACICS is accrediting organization that's being reviewed by Department of Education. We haven't really received any specific notification from BPPE regarding the status. The additional information related to accreditation is that the program offers RN to BSN program, which is CCNE accredited, and it also offers MSN degree as well. Shepard University has started its WASC accreditation at the start of the ADM program approval, and that process is still continuing. And they're scheduled for initial accreditation visit in spring of 2017. So that's their accreditation status. This program's review sort of continues from the interim visit that has been made, and as you know, with a new program, we go in and review programs at the time that they have initial program cohort graduating. And at that time, they had, for their initial cohort, they had 2010, 32 students. Let's see, hold on a second. They admitted 32 students, which were LVN to ADN programs. So these were the second semester advanced placement students. And that's how the program started. So the first number that you see for their first cohort graduation of NCLEX represents that group of graduates. And the program is being presented this time, and they're on warning status primarily for the low NCLEX pass rate. And I have tried to summarize their status in relation to the board activities or board decisions and the NCLEX pass rate, and this is on the first page. So with the initial graduate level, they had a pass rate of 72.73%, which was already below the 75%. But this, again, was not their entire curriculum. It was the advanced placement LVNs. And the program continued that way, and with the information that the program had, which was a low pass rate, they submitted to the board how they were going to try to work to improve the NCLEX pass rate of the graduates. I think what has happened for the program, it being a new program, their attempts to correct the problem was kind of slow in trying to get it, I think, to bring up the NCLEX pass rate. So they ended up having 2 years of low pass rate, and so we then went in as per our policy that we would review the program. So this is a new program that is not has a low pass rate, and by this time, it ends up being it was time for the program to be receiving continuing approval visit shortly following that time period. So when we went in February, where the board placed the program on warning status, that was the first time we have done a comprehensive review of the program, and that combined continuing approval visit along with the 2-year low pass rate results. And some of the problems that we found at that time was that the program continued to admit larger number of advanced placement students. And in addition, the enrollment data that we looked at showed they admitted larger than usual number of 30-unit option students that we rarely see in other admission numbers in other schools. So they had a concentrated number. So in trying to, even though they corrected some of the problem areas by increasing perhaps their GPA, doing some comprehensive testing at the end of the semester, coming up with pass rates to strengthen their students, it wasn't working as well as they had expected to. And so this then, the board allowed to the school to continue with their process of trying to correct the problem that they were facing. And so that's why you see in September is they were reviewed in September. The board allowed for the continuance of the warning status. We asked for additional time for some of the changes to take place. And so by September 2015, additional corrective actions were being put in place. And that, by that time then, Sue Albert, who is a consultant, came on board, really working with faculty and how in improving teaching strategies and reviewing the curriculum. So during this time period, they did a major curriculum change as well, with consultant working alongside. They also stabilized faculty recruitment, retention issues that was also part of the initial program. So you had enrollment that was kind of unusual that the school brought in. Also, they have faculty issues where they have inexperienced faculty as well as very high turnover of faculty occurring at the same time. So it was a combination of problem areas that resulted in the outcome and the continued outcome. And so if you notice, their data is trying to show the board, once they have tried to implement the major changes that occurred, which is not the initial time period of 2014, but really it didn't happen until almost 2015. And with program improvement, and because of the depth of the areas that they needed to fix, it's taking them a lot longer. And in this data, it would show you what the difference is for students taking the first-time pass rate before the changes occurred and after changes have taken place. And so they try to show in their report those changes. The issue with this is that the number of students completing is very small. So the actual, how should I say, improvement that you see, it's a positive change, but it's a very small incremental change that you are seeing. So at the last ELC meeting that we presented the school and the progress that it's making, it was presented, and I believe that the school is making a positive progress, but it's a very slow progress. it requires additional time. And Education License Committee, after various questioning, allowed to give additional time to the school. So the recommendation from ELC was to allow continued warning status to Shepard University and to return to the committee, giving them 1 year. So they need to come back October 2017. And the program is to submit quarterly progress report. So these are dated for January, April, July, and September of next year. And the NEC is to make at least one site visit to the program. So this was the recommendation from the ELC committee. And this completes my report to the board.
Are there any questions from board members? We made decision last month.
Made a
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yeah.
Mr. President, can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
The only comment I would like to say is that I just want to remind the school that this has been going on since 2014. And it's really positive to see you're making progress, but this progress needs to continue and it needs to be effective and strong movement forward. Because we need to protect the public. They need nurses that are trained in this state that are really equipped to pass the NCLEX and equipped to be effective practitioners and take care of their patients and the public. And we need the school to be successful if they're going to continue to operate. So this needs to be consistent and forward.
Yes, the school is very well aware of that. That's noting that right now we are just now getting the final students through to have completed the full changed curriculum and implementation of changes that we've made. And that our last board results, 7 out of 7, 100%. So it's just now, we're just now seeing everybody completing that program, all 4 semesters. But we are aware of it. We recognize, the school recognizes the need for consistent improvement, always improving, always working to keep the changes in place and high-quality teaching.
Just one other comment on that, keep your faculty. I hope you can get incentivized to keep that new faculty and support them, since that was one of the areas that you really had problems with.
Their faculty is incredibly committed. They're very excited about this, very dedicated. They have put in incredible amounts of hours to improve the curriculum and also to improve themselves as faculty members.
Question also. Does your plan include keeping the consultant working with you?
Yes. Yes.
I would recommend that highly.
You got another question?
Yes, I would,
You gotta speak in.
I would ask our consultants to keep an ongoing eye on them, based on the next testing period.
Yes.
We'll see what the results are, then come back in the middle of the year. But I don't want to come back a year from now and find out it worked or didn't work. We should have
Right.
We should have ongoing.
It will be in the progress report section. And if there is a negative outcome that I see, it will be brought to the committee as a different agenda item.
Thank you, Mia.
Mhm.
Very good.
I have another question. How often does your faculty meet?
We meet regularly, weekly basis, and also regular basis for monthly.
I'm sorry, did you say weekly on a regular basis?
Weekly to bi-weekly,
To bi-weekly.
regular basis.
I do have a question concerning the students who don't pass. What type of remediation do you have for those students?
So we're talking about students who graduated before our new program.
Speak into
Oh,
the mic.
so Sorry. We're talking about students who graduated before a new program implemented. So these are students who have been offered to come back to our NCLEX review program that we're currently offering. So these are basically provided to all the students, graduates from our program. So that's what we're offering right now. Mhm.
That's offered to them at no cost?
No cost.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And are your graduates finding jobs? Yes. All of them?
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, please restate the recommendations.
Continue warning status for Shepard University Associate Degree Nursing Program with program to return to Education Licensing Committee in October 2017. Program is to submit quarterly progress reports in January, April, July, and September, and the NEC is to make at least one site visit to the program in spring 2017.
I make a motion, we accept.
I have a question, Michael, about this. What if there is negative results? I know you spoke about it a little bit
Yeah.
before, but with this
What
recommendation,
happens-
I don't see it on there. What would happen?
Well, what happens is essentially, it doesn't have to go in there, but if there is a negative result, it is really up to the NEC to bring it back to ELC and get board direction.
All right, so we don't need that on the recommendation?
No.
Thank you.
Standard process.
Do we need the fact that we want the consultant to stay on with them for you? No.
No,
That's their
yeah,
decision.
we already have an assigned consultant, and at this time, oh, you mean we don't make that type of conditional requirement as consultant, assigning consultant, but I think that's kind of implied here.
Thank you.
Any public comment? No public comment, call for the question.
Laura Delapcruz Reyes, yes.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trandy Phillips, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
And Ray Malone, yes.
Cindy Klein, yes.
Barbara Yaroslavsky, yes.
Item 7.4.2, vote on whether to change warning status for Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science, Mervyn M. Donnelly School of Nursing, entry-level master's degree nursing program.
Good morning. Laura Shanian, Nursing Education Consultant, Southern California. And with me today is Dr. Margaret Avila to my right, and Dr. Michael. Dr. Margaret Avila is the Program Director for the ELM Nursing Program at Charles Drew University, and Dr. Michael is the Provost at Charles Drew University. The program is being presented subsequent to the board's decision to issue warning status with intent to close CDU ELM nursing program at its June 16, 2016 meeting and to return to the October ELC for further consideration. The warning status was issued as a result of the program's continued noncompliance for substandard NCLEX pass rate, which originates from its June 15-16, 2015 regularly scheduled continuing approval visit. Findings for the visit identified 2 areas of noncompliance. One area was corrected. The noncompliance for CCR 1431 NCLEX pass rate continues. At the June 16 board meeting, the reported annual NCLEX pass rate was 53.33% for 3 quarters reporting. Since that time, 1 graduate has tested during the April-June testing period, so that the final annual NCLEX pass rate for the 2015-16 academic year is 45.95%. ELC recommendations approved by the board at the June meeting included a one-time enrollment of 20 students for fall 2016 admission, and that additional enrollment would require approval by the board, and that the program would provide monthly progress reports to the NEC. Monthly progress reports for June through September described implementation of the program's restructured plan for assessing student performance in the program, remediating as needed, and testing for readiness before taking the NCLEX. This included NCLEX reviews provided by a newly hired consultant for fifth semester students who are completing the pre-licensure portion of the curriculum, and HESI exit exam testing to ensure readiness. As a result of these stepped-up measures, the program reported strong HESI scores for cohorts 9 and 10 that indicate a 95 to 98.32% probability of passing the NCLEX. Cohort 9 graduated 27 students on August 31, and the program reports 7 have taken and passed the NCLEX. Cohort 10 students are currently in the 6th semester and will be provided with additional NCLEX review sessions and testing before taking the NCLEX and graduating on December 31. There are a total of 109 students in the program, and the breakdown per cohort is there for you in the report. Other activities and improvement measures reported by the program include a review of faculty profiles relative to teaching assignments and content experts, and the hire of a simulation specialist to oversee simulation and work with the program simulation technician. Faculty orientation now consists of a more structured mentorship for new faculty as well as for adjunct clinical instructors, and a new 12-week faculty professional development workshop series instituted to assist with enhancing teaching practices. An updated faculty roster shows 17 faculty, 11 full-time, 6 part-time, which represents a loss of 4 faculty and a gain of 3 since April. Faculty ratio at the June 2015 continuing approval visit was 15 full-time and 3 part-time. While the program is closely maintaining its total number of faculty, the turnover continues to present some problems as reported by students during a visit in September. This is regarding clinical groups not starting on time due to faculty or facility issues, which was similarly identified in fall and spring 2015-16. The program has been working to recruit and stabilize its core faculty and is currently reviewing 2 prospective candidates for faculty approval. Total program evaluation is occurring in the program as evidenced by student survey data from spring, which garnered satisfactory ratings in all areas. A newly formed program evaluation committee plans to meet every other month and at the end of each academic year, and a total program evaluation plan is being updated. Over the past summer, the curriculum was mapped to BRN requirements and the NCLEX RN test plan to ensure content and identify areas for improvement. A revised clinical evaluation tool is being piloted, and there are plans for submission of a major curriculum revision proposal to be implemented fall 2017. Students voiced appreciation of the changes being made in the program, and student representatives for each cohort have begun to attend faculty meetings, and they will also be invited to the appropriate committee meetings where specific issues and concerns can be addressed. ELC recommendations given are to continue warning status with quarterly progress reports to the NEC, and that the program will return to the ELC in March 2017. And the program may enroll 1 additional cohort of 20 students for spring 2017 admission. That concludes my report.
Any questions from the board?
Could we repeat your recommendation, please?
Yes.
I was just trying to read this and
It's
to continue the warning status?
right, with quarterly progress reports to the NEC, program to return to the ELC in March 2017, and the program may enroll 1 additional cohort of 20 students for spring 2017 admission.
Is that going to allow the program to function appropriately, and are we tying our hands too much, or? We're okay.
20 is fine. Actually, I would prefer that for a bit of
Okay.
time.
Thank you.
Are there any public? Go ahead.
I have a question about why you're making the recommendation to have 20 more students when there's so many issues to start with in this program.
Education Licensing Committee came to that recommendation because if there are no students, you can't demonstrate improvement with the changes that are implemented. So there needs to be an ongoing enrollment. And what they did was limited that enrollment. The program will need to have approval, in March. Then Education Licensing Committee would review their progress and determine whether additional students should be admitted. But this was a restricted number.
Restricted from what? What would have been the normal enrollment?
40.
So it's half the amount of
Yes.
students.
And the cohort 9 that we're talking about, there are 28 in that cohort. 24 took the exams, and 23 passed right now. There's only one student that has failed. And we intend to maintain that performance level.
Mr. President, can I make a comment? I just want to say, and as I said with the previous group that had been struggling, this has been going on since 2014 year. And this needs to continue to, if you're making forward progress, that's a good thing, but it needs to be consistent and continue, because this can't go on indefinitely. We need to protect the public, and we need to have schools that have nurses that are graduating from these programs and passing the NCLEX and moving forward. So it needs to be consistent, it needs to continue to go forward, or we have to do something else.
There have been significant changes that's been noted by the NEC in the more current few months that I think we anticipate when we come back in March that you will have quarterly reports that will demonstrate that change that began this last summer as opposed to what had been going on previously. So we're happy to discuss the further issue in March. More data will be available to you.
Ma'am, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Margaret Avila, and I'm the current program director and dean of the school.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question regarding faculty. Is it 4 faculty or 3 faculty that left? Do you have reasons why they left?
I believe the faculty that left, let me just clarify. The faculty that left before this major change. And they were not core faculty, but they were full-time faculty. So the core courses have been stable. And the last new hire was for fundamentals and med surg. And I believe we brought her in for the summer. The others were probably adjunct faculty, part-timers. So some review to provide some stability has been conducted. And we have just one vacancy. Well, we have just one vacancy, but it's not a core faculty. And I'm calling core faculty those who are obligated to teach the essentials, yeah. This is an MSN program, so I have full-time faculty teach graduate program courses, but the core faculty are stable now that the fundamentals has been hired.
I also remember that there was a time the board asked about the salaries that we're paying our faculty, and I'm pleased to say that from all the input that I have from the faculty themselves and the dean, that we are par with regards to what we pay the faculty there.
Any public comment? Restate your recommendation again.
Continue warning status with quarterly progress reports to NEC and program to return to ELC in March 2017. The program may enroll one additional cohort of 20 students for spring 2017 admission.
So moved.
Second.
Public comment? I call for the question.
Laura De La Cruz Reyes, yes.
Elizabeth was yes.
Trendy Phillips, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes?
Ray Malone, yes.
Cindy Klein, yes.
Barbara Yaroslavsky, yes.
All right, thank you.
Item 7.5, NCLEX update.
Good morning. My name is Katie Doherty. I'm one of the nursing education consultants in the Sacramento office of the board. This is an information-only item for you. What you have before you are a series of tables relative to the 12-month rolling total of NCLEX results and the quarterly and by degree type. The first table on the first page for the October 2015 through September 30, 2016, 12-month period shows that California had a total of 11,385 first-time testers with a pass rate of 87.86%. When I look at that pass rate in comparison to the same time period last year, we are up. It was around 86.03% last year at this time. So again, we're continuing to see that increasing improvement. For the United States and its territories, including California, the total of first-time testers for that period was 158,033 first-time testers. And the pass rate at the national level is 84.30. So California is really doing very well. A real tribute to the nursing educators in the state of California.
I also think it means that California is bringing up the national level.
That's
the
right.
average.
Thank you for that comment. When I looked at the trend from last year for the aggregate for the U.S., at that time, similar kind of number of first-time test takers. The national rate at that time was 84.18%. So there hasn't been the same level of increase in the pass rate at the national level that we've seen in California. When I look at the 12 months comparison for similar sized boards with similar number of first-time testers as well for this 12-month period, and I'm using the range of around 8,650 to 11,413 first-time testers. Once again, California is number one in terms of its performance, and that's followed by Texas with 87.12, New York with 82.57, and with Ohio at 80.6. So again, California is really doing an exemplary job. When we look at the quarterly, which is the next table down, and we're reporting on the period 7/1/16 through 9/30, we had a total of 4,218 first-time test takers, and we're back up at a quarterly basis reporting 90.68 for our test takers. And we hadn't seen that quarterly result. I was kind of looking back. We saw that kind of quarterly result back in 12 and 13, and so it's nice to see us back up there. For the same period and same quarter last year, our pass rate was at 88.24%. So once again, we have increased on a quarterly basis what we did last time, same quarter. And then the second table, the third table you have in front of you, are the pass rate distributions by degree type. And again, we've demonstrated, when I look back at last year's performance, we've consistently demonstrated improved and significantly increased pass rates in all degree categories. Any questions about?
I have a question. Does this information get disseminated to the schools so they know that?
Yes, it's of course available on
I know
our.
it's on our website. I just want to know if we make the effort to send it out to let them know. It might be something that they should hear.
That's a
The
wonderful.
deans and directors, they attend an annual meeting a couple times a year, so the boards, they're
And-
doing presentations a couple times a year.
And Dr. Morris just recently presented both last year and this year's
Good, okay.
results to the 200 and some odd who attended.
Good,
So
okay,
thank you very much for the comment, though. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Item 7.6, licensing program update.
Good morning. Christina Sprague, Chief Licensing and Administrative Services. The licensing program evaluators are currently processing the initial review of exam and endorsement applications we received in late September. We are preparing to begin processing our fall graduation applications, which we have already started receiving. And we continue to assist students in applying to the board by conducting our presentations on the first day of the board meeting, which is the discipline day. Stacy Berumen and myself provide a presentation to all the students that are in attendance to the discipline day of our board meeting, and we provide them with licensing updates with information on applying through the Breeze system for online applications. We talk about the Pearson View. We respond to any questions they may have as well. They seem very excited to receive that information as well. We are currently actively recruiting for positions in the licensing unit. We have 6 positions that we're currently recruiting for. 1 full-time permanent program technician for the PHN evaluations desk, 4 limited term program technician 2 positions for our U.S. evaluations unit, and 1 limited term program technician position for our support unit.
Excuse me, Christine, are
Yes.
these new positions or backfills?
They're actually, 2 of them are backfills. The PHN evaluation is a permanent position. That is a backfill. We've actually been trying to fill that position for probably over 6 months. We have not been successful in finding a candidate that has been reachable for us to, on the state list, for us to actually place into the position. The other 4 limited term positions are, I guess you can consider them backfills, but they're not really backfills because they're limited term positions that we've created to assist us during the graduation seasons. We actually did have individuals in those positions, but we ended up hiring them when some of our permanent staff left for other positions and promotions. So we've kind of backfilled our permanent positions with our limited term staff since they are already trained. So it's kind of a continuous, ongoing hiring in the licensing program. So we are expecting to have these positions filled by the end of the month. They actually were conducting interviews this week. We, of course, continue to improve our processes within the licensing program, and we have been utilizing the cloud drive to receive electronic transcripts from California programs. We have also provided the links in a few cases to schools outside of the state of California, and when we're trying to receive transcripts quickly for an applicant that has been pending. So we are testing it outside of California as well. We are also looking into other transcript providers in order to accept transcripts from out-of-state programs in addition to our cloud. This will also help with streamlining the endorsement application process. Additionally, we continue to assess our internal business process and make necessary changes to ensure the evaluation and licensure process is as streamlined as possible. The licensing management and staff continue to meet bi-weekly with our business integrity analyst, with our Breeze business integrity analyst from the Department of Consumer Affairs, to receive potential changes and enhancements to the system to allow for a more efficient workflow. These meetings are very productive meetings. The board staff identifies the changes and enhancements that we want made, or basically they come up with an idea and say, what if we can do this? Then we sit in those meetings and we actually discuss with the Breeze programmers, the vendor, and DCA on, okay, what is the best method for us to get to this point, And then we determine whether we need to make changes to the system, if we need to make changes within our specific licensing transactions to accommodate the workflow for our board. Longdale and myself presented, and I presented at the annual California Organization of Associate Degree Nursing Program Directors Conference, so the COADN, on October 19th. The presentation outlined the updates that were made to the Director's Handbook, the process of submitting electronic transcripts, the process on applying online for the exam application, the NCLEX registration process, reporting of prior convictions and discipline, and of course our processing timeframes. The major points of discussion were the elimination of the roster process for California programs and the implementation of accepting electronic transcripts via the DCA BRN cloud. The deans and directors were very receptive to the changes, but did have some questions regarding electronic transcript process. Some programs have informed us that they use a third-party vendor to prepare their students' final transcripts, which may cost some additional work on their part to submit via the cloud. We have been working and communicating with some of the programs to assist in ways for their schools to utilize the cloud to submit electronic transcripts to the board. We have pretty much been communicating with a lot of the California programs. The UC schools are moving towards the third-party vendors, and we've been working with them to come up with ways for them to take advantage of the BRN cloud. The issue with the third-party vendors, just on our part, is that the third-party vendors, the students pay the third-party vendor to submit their transcripts. They have to pay for that service. The transcripts, basically how it functions is a link is then sent to whomever they request the link to be sent to. So if we're dealing with 140 plus California nursing programs, and we have every student from those nursing programs during our grad season, so approximately anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 students during a grad season send us an individual link, then it's just like us receiving paper transcripts. We're not able to process the entire graduating class together as a whole, and then it's causing more work for our staff on the back end to receive these links and individually go and determine, okay, what school is it? Where is the Breeze application, attaching it to the record, versus the school submitting all 25, 50, 75 students at one time, where we then assign them to an evaluator. They get evaluated and transcripts attached at the same time. So we are working with the schools to figure out kind of a workaround for getting their transcripts to us electronically. Statistics, the board is we are still using the QBERT reporting tool, and we are able to create and run various reports. The QBERT Basics workshop was held again on October 28th for staff who were not able to partake in the original first sessions. So we have sent additional staff to attend that particular training so that they are able to run reports for management. We do have more seasoned staff. Those are staff that have gone through the more advanced, longer in-depth training so that they can actually create the reports for management, and then they will put them out so that they can be run by staff or managers or whomever needs the actual reports being run. So below we have provided some application statistics, and for the last 4 fiscal years, and then of course the current fiscal year is from July 1, 2016 to November 2nd, 2016, and it basically lists out the applications received for that period of time. Are there any questions? Yes.
So help me to understand the process. Students apply for a license. In order to apply for the license, they have to have all their materials submitted to the BRN. And at the same time, materials are coming in separately, which is causing a delay. Is that correct?
So the only documents that come in separately, well, that are supposed to come in separately, of course, are the transcripts, because the transcripts have to come directly from
Right,
the school.
original source, I understand.
Yes. So that is what has caused the delays in the past. We've had to wait for paper transcripts. Of course, the schools have to wait until all the grades are posted. We need final degree posted on the transcript with the date conferred. And then those are then, of course, forwarded on to the board.
So the applicant may submit an application prior to that information documentation being present.
The applicants will submit their applications prior to graduation.
A long time before or just
Use the
immediately?
microphone.
Oh, can't, sorry, it's on? Yes? So that the students, at what point may a student submit an application for a licensure prior to graduation?
So we are currently asking students to submit their applications 2 weeks prior to graduation. This is new for this upcoming graduation season. Prior to this upcoming graduation season, students have submitted their applications anywhere from 4, 6, 8 weeks prior to their graduation date. Because one of the processes which we have eliminated was the California roster process, whereas we would make them eligible based on a roster submitted by their nursing program.
Do students graduate one time during the year, 4 times during the year, or how often?
Yes, all year long. The CSUs, the UCs, they pretty much graduate twice a year, but any of the private universities, colleges, they could graduate multiple times during the year. They have various tracks that start at different times. So in years past, we could say we have the spring graduation and we have the fall graduation. So spring and fall, and we knew that they happened usually in May and December. Now we have graduating classes all year long.
Do you ever use the opportunity of these meetings when you meet with the nursing students prior to our meetings to consider doing licensing in the community here, to do whatever, receive materials or fingerprints or put your packages together? Is there ever a need for something like that, or would that help your timelines?
You know, I believe the schools actually handle that portion of it.
That's
The instructors we've had attending the actual presentations ahead of time will ask questions, clarifications, and they've let us know that they pretty much have a class where they will take the entire graduating, program, and they will walk through the application process, assisting them to attach their documents. Some schools will even bring in a live scan vendor to have their students all printed at the same time.
That's where I was going
Yes.
with the live scan at our meetings, if that was necessary to take into consideration in the regions, if that would help. I'm just trying to look at if there's tools out there that would help your staff, because it doesn't sound like you have a full staff yet.
Correct.
To do their job in a timely fashion, because I'm more concerned with the lag time between graduation and being able to get licensed.
Correct.
So could you
And-
address that period of time? I mean, is there an
and
average?
that's what with this next graduating season here for our fall grads that are upcoming, that's what we're hoping to bring that period of time down with the electronic transcripts, with the changes we've made to the way we actually evaluate, eliminating the roster, making an applicant eligible via the roster process, eliminating that portion of it. We're hoping will bring down that time from the time they actually submit their application to the time we actually make them eligible after graduation.
So one last question, I apologize, is the breeze issue. Within the breeze application form, we do that, correct? We use breeze, the system
For the
Breeze
online
for
application,
online
yes.
application. Does it stop the applicant from being able to continue the application if the materials are not complete? Should it, if not?
Okay, so the Breeze online application asks specific questions of the applicant. So they do have to respond to these specific questions. As far as the documents being attached, they can upload documents, but it doesn't stop them if there are no documents uploaded.
So therefore, their application is incomplete and being filed on a Breeze format?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
I mean, the application is going to be incomplete anyways because we don't have the transcripts,
If
because
that's
the
only thing
students
missing, though,
cannot.
So I'm
Right.
trying to figure out, if the only thing missing is transcripts and everything is ready to roll,
Mm-hmm.
is there a way of making that definite period condensed so that your staff knows that everything they've got in front of them is ready to go as soon as they get those
And
transcripts?
that's
that can
what
go?
we're working towards, yes.
So
That
can you-
is,
Okay, good. Can you give us an idea of what the timeline is now between
We-
application and licensure?
so, for the new grad season, I cannot.
Okay, what is,
But
what can we compare it to?
prior grad seasons
Right.
would not be a good telltale because we've made so many changes, and this next upcoming grad season is going to really be the first time that we're able to test out all of the changes we've made. Prior to this, the time frame has been over 12 weeks.
If I may, Christina, let me
Yes.
jump in. Barbara, that was the reason why we implemented the pilot program to test out the cloud to receive the electronic transcripts. And again, that was presented at the last Deans and Directors meeting, overwhelmingly standing ovation, well received by the Deans and Directors.
Good.
So we are moving in the right direction, and we, as stated in my EO report, we will launch the cloud officially in December.
No, I think this is all well and good. I'm just looking that as a benchmark, that we as a board understand what it has been and what it's going to be, so that we can hold somebody accountable to what it's, we need a measurement. So we know that it was 12 weeks last 6 months, and we know it's only going to be 6 weeks the next 6. We have to have something to base our information on.
Prior to our changes, it was 12 to 20 weeks.
Oh, 12 to 20
It was
weeks.
12 to 20 weeks.
Yeah.
We are,
That's a whole lot worse than 12 weeks.
yes, it was 12 to 20 weeks. And that is from receipt of the application to licensure, okay? There are several things that have to happen in between there. Our 12-week period of time is our timeframe in which we have to provide an initial evaluation. So we could provide an initial evaluation at that prior to our changes, informing an applicant that they were deficient in some area. Usually it was because we have not received your transcripts. And that is why we are asking our applicants now to not submit their application to wait 2 weeks prior to graduation. What that's going to do is it's going to eliminate our evaluators from touching that application more than once. We do not want to send a deficiency letter to an applicant telling them that we do not have your transcripts prior to them having even graduated. They know we don't have the transcripts. We know why we don't have the transcripts. But based on our statutory requirement for providing an initial evaluation, if we touch that application, we have to send them a letter letting them know that it is either deficient or they have been made eligible to exam.
So with these systems improvements, as you see them go forward, if there is need for statutory change, that'll come forward to the board, I assume.
That's correct.
Okay, so thank you.
So our goal is 4 to 6 weeks
With this
from the
cloud.
time that we receive the transcripts.
So quick question, Christina, backing up a little bit. So is there a plan if the school is not able to do the cloud upload? For example, is opting out at this time? Do we have a plan on what's going to happen to that school?
Let me speak to that. We would highly encourage schools to work with the board to look into, well, let me just say this. The longer the schools wait to send the transcripts, the longer it would take the students to receive their applications and to complete the process. So those schools that are listening to this presentation, we will highly encourage you to work with the board so that we can be more efficient as we look into streamlining the process and becoming more current with the use of technology. We do believe that there are some schools that may have faced some challenges, but once we have presented the cloud to them, in just how efficient it is and how easy it is to access the cloud. Some of those schools we spoke with were able to speak with their registrar's office and find ways to make it work. Okay, so truly we're looking at how we can improve our business processes, and we do believe that this is an effective way. And we have been very successful thus far with piloting this process with many of the schools thus far.
I'd just like to commend the board. I know they've been working, or the staff, they've been working really hard along with the board and the executive officer to get these things moving, because we out in the community hear all the, the complaints and stuff from
Yes.
folks. So we appreciate the fact that so much work is being done to really expedite things, and I'm sure the new nurses appreciate that too, because they can get their job. And it particularly affects those nurses, those graduates who are going into residency programs.
Correct.
That can't start until they have that license. So
Yes.
thank you for the work.
You're welcome.
I'd like to second that, because I've had a lot of people come up to me, both educators and the students, at the day one of the board meetings, when we've now been doing, before the disciplinary sections, you've been doing that orientation. They said that's been a huge improvement. It's answered a lot of questions, it's cleared up a lot of misunderstandings, and especially over the goal that you have of just touching the application once if possible. People were very confused before you really proactively and aggressively got in there and started educating the different groups and the different stakeholders on the importance of having the applications done correctly and moving, and they've really expressed to help. So thank you for moving forward on that.
Christina, I have a question concerning the Breeze system. I think several weeks ago I had heard that if you're in the Breeze system under a license that's not an RN, say LVNs that we deal with a lot, that you're already in the system. Do these nurses, potential RNs, know that they have to go, they don't have to have another number or another way they go into their other number, or however they go in?
And that's actually, we've actually included that in our presentations as well,
Okay.
to let them know, to specifically address. And it's not only LVNs. Apparently there are a lot of nurses who are cosmetologists as well. So we've let them know that if you hold another license under the Department of Consumer Affairs and that board is currently in Breeze, then you already have a Breeze and you have created a Breeze account for that other license. You would use that same Breeze account for applying for licensure by the RN board. So we've tried to get that word out as well to all of the applicants.
So when you go into the Breeze system, and I don't recall, it's been a while since I've been in it, is there something that says to them, if you have a number, you go into that number? You go into that number?
Yes, if they have a license, if they already have a license with another board and they have not created a Breeze account, when they go into Breeze, it will ask them to onboard a license. What that means is, oh yeah, I'm an LVN. I can bring my LVN license in to that. So it will provide them with that direction,
Okay, so
those
prompt
steps.
like to get them into
Yes,
that. Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Sorry, I apologize. I just have one other question to ask, and that is it possible to put the presentation that has been so well received by so many online and with a notice on our website, an alert kind of thing, so that somehow that the story is out there in such a broad way that we can look forward to the first opportunity of some really positive numbers changes in a positive direction.
Which presentation?
The presentation that you're making that you just said you made to the deans that they stood in.
We're currently working with the staff to refine the process, and so that it's clean, it's simple. And I believe that many of our deans and directors, again, pictures tell it all. So that it's clean, direct, and it will be emailed to them Well, we
Or
sent out
the
an email.
website, or just on the
presentation-
website,
The
you know?
presentation that was provided at the COADN
Yes.
was
Right.
very specific to the deans and directors.
correct.
I think it would be very, if we were to put it out on our website, it would be very confusing
So don't make
to
it
just the
confusing.
general.
So then an
Exactly.
email, you have a list of all the deans and
We've
directors?
already
We
provided
already
them with
contacted
that
them.
information,
Yes, I
yes.
had them contacted several days ago to inform them that we will be sending out the presentation and within a week or so.
Well, we've actually already provided them with the PowerPoint presentation that was conducted on October 19th. And we're also providing them with step-by-step instructions related to, specifically to uploading documents to the cloud. So that will be going out to them next week. So we have already provided that information to
Okay,
them.
thank you. Congratulations. It sounds like it's moving in the right direction. It's
It
just-
is moving in the right direction, yes.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Hi, my name is Catherine Hughes. I'm a registered nurse with SEIU. I have a question regarding the renewal license, since this is the licensing update. Is that okay? So I got an email from a nurse who sent in her paperwork for renewal. The check was cashed on September 9th, and when she kept checking the status of her license, it kept saying pending. And then right before it was due to expire on October 31st, then it stated delinquent. And she never got any notice of what she was missing or what the problem was. I don't know if it was, so, and she's since cleared it up because she called and figured out what they needed. But my question is when, and we did the whole, we recommend, renewing online because it's quicker. I told her if you renew paperwork-wise, if she had the check cashed on September 9th, by October 9th, she should have been calling or doing something. I wouldn't have waited until the end of the October. And then obviously if she renews online, it's a little quicker. But if in like 4 weeks, something doesn't happen and your check's been cashed, you should be proactive since it's your license. But is there notice between, if the renewal process is going through with the BRN, before the license expires, are they sent a letter? Are they sent an email? What happens to let them know that their license isn't going to be renewed before it expires? Because she wasn't sure, other than making the phone call, should she have gotten some kind of notice from the board?
So first off, let me put out into the universe, to the webcast universe. If you are renewing online and your license does not immediately, and I mean immediately, by the time you have submitted the payment online, you could go back into Breeze and verify that your license has been renewed. If you cannot immediately verify that your license has been renewed, then you should start calling the board. That means there is an issue. There's a hold been placed on the renewal for a variety of reasons.
Right.
So it potentially could be a variety. A question, was answered in a way that would place a hold. If fingerprints are required,
They
if
missed a
continuing
box.
education was required. So there are a variety of reasons why a hold could be placed. If they have a name change, if they have an address change pending, that potentially will hold up the renewal of a license. So if you're doing it online and it is immediately, by the time you've paid, not updated, then you need to start calling the board.
Okay.
Letters are sent out for specific types of holds that are placed on the renewal. The letters are not generated at the board. They're generated by an outside vendor. The data has to be transmitted to that vendor. The vendor has to print the letters. They have to be mailed. They're not going to receive those letters potentially for up to a week or longer.
Okay.
So, that's why with the online, it's important. They should
Right.
know immediately if their license is renewed or if it's going to be held up.
And what are those specific reasons why a hold, if they did it manually, you kind of have an idea what those
If
are?
there's, if they have not provided their continuing education, if they have not submitted fingerprints, if the board currently does not have fingerprints for either the Department of Justice or or FBI, if they have a pending address change, if they have a pending name change. If for online, they're attesting to, that this is
Right,
them.
just
and-
check the box that
Correct.
you've, everything you've done
Correct.
is accurate.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
So she should have called
Yes.
sooner than that. Okay, so then she would have probably, or should have gotten a snail mail letter from your
Yes.
vendor.
Yes.
Letting her know why it pended for 2 months.
Correct.
Okay.
And most of the time when they call, the call center agents are usually able to respond and fix what's going on with very little intervention from the licensee. We may require a document with a signature. We may require a document with some information which they could fax or email, and then the agent will be able to clear their record.
And then the phone number that anybody calls to get a hold of someone is just the number on the website.
Yes,
There's
it
not
is.
specific numbers for
No.
specific issues.
No.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Thanks for your
Thank,
time.
thank you very much for your comments. We encourage all nurses to move online to apply online, which will speed up the process where we won't be dealing with paper and paperwork getting caught up in the mailroom situation. And it's cleaner.
Convince my seasoned nurses
And it's cleaner. We have to help them.
Yeah.
A little extra time spent with them and help them along so the process can be easy for them as well as this board staff. And we can have a cleaner planet too as well. Thank you for your comments. At this time,
Christina, is there a improvement in the phone system? People answering the phone and people not on hold forever and a day?
We currently have 10 call center agents, so there actually has been improvement in the phone. I mean, you will still hear complaints that people are not able to get through. The board receives several thousand calls a day. 10 agents, of course, are not able to answer every single one of those calls. But we definitely have made improvements in the number of calls that we are able to manage throughout the day. We are continuously working on our phone system to direct our callers to specific areas within the website and through our phone tree to provide them with information so that they potentially don't have to wait online. We think the changes that we've made within the licensing program also will help our call volume. As far as the students, a lot of the applicants, especially during graduation season, will call numerous times for a status on their application. So we're hoping with the changes that we've made, we'll receive fewer of those phone calls as well.
Thank you.
thank you. At this time, we're going to take a 10-minute break. Yeah, I gotta use a right now. In session with item 8.0, report of the Legislative Committee. Donna Gerber is not present, so I will assist with chairing this committee. Item 8.1, status update and discussion of bills of interest to the board.
Good morning. My name is Kay Winecombe. I'm one of the nursing education consultants and liaison to the Legislative Committee. Because of where we are in the legislative session today, the agenda item is more of a report rather than a request for action on these bills, because at this point in the 2-year cycle, the governor has either signed the bills or vetoed bills. So what today's presentation will be is, if you refer to your attachment, the bill status table, I'll just go over the bills that were not in their final status at the last board meeting in September. So we'll start with Assembly Bill 840. That's Assemblymember Ridley Thomas's bill related to nurses and certified nursing assistants overtime. The governor did veto this bill, And the letter is in your packet, but the reason given is that the matter is more appropriately settled through the collective bargaining process.
Could you repeat that, please?
The governor's veto message related to why he vetoed the
Right.
bill was that he considers that this matter is more appropriately settled through the collective bargaining process. Because the nurses in the state facilities are members of bargaining unit 17.
Okay, I didn't know, thank you. I just wanted, thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
moving along.
The next bill is Assembly Bill 1386. That's Assemblymember Lowe's bill related to emergency medical care, epinephrine, autoinjectors. This bill was chaptered. It's Chapter 374. The third bill is Assembly Bill 1748, Assemblymember May's bill related to pupils, pupil health, opioid antagonists. That bill was signed. It was chaptered as Chapter 557. Assembly Bill 2105 is Assemblymember Rodriguez's bill related to workforce development, allied health professions. This bill was also chaptered. It's Chapter 410. Assembly Bill 2272, Assemblymember Thurman's bill, was on occupational health or occupational safety and health standards, plume. This bill was also vetoed by the governor, and the veto message was related to that. I agree with the author and sponsor that the potentially hazardous effects of plume merits thorough review. By specifically requiring the adoption of the regulation, however, the bill divests the Standards Board of its discretion to consider a proposed standard for adoption and instead mandates it to do so. This board was created as an independent body, and I believe that independence must be maintained in order for it to effectively perform its mission and protect all California workers.
Excuse me, could I just ask staff to maybe see if we can calm down the hallway?
That's what we're doing right now.
Oh, sorry, thank you, I can't hear. Thank you, they're doing it.
Okay. Am I speaking closely?
Go right ahead.
You're
Go
fine.
ahead.
Assembly Bill 2744 is Assemblymember Gordon's bill related to healing arts referrals. This bill was signed by the governor, and it's Chapter 360. Assembly Bill 2859 is Assemblymember Lowe's bill related to professions and vocations, retired category, licensees. This bill was also chaptered. It's Chapter 473. We're moving to the Senate side of the House. Senate Bill 482 by Senator Lara, related to controlled substances, the Cures database. This bill was chaptered. It's Chapter 708. Senator Hill's bill, Senate Bill 1039, related to professions and vocations, was chaptered as Chapter 799. Senator Hernandez's bill, Senate Bill 1076, related to general acute care hospitals observation services, was also chaptered. It's Chapter 723. Senate Bill 1139 is Senator Lara's bill related to health professionals, medical school programs, healing arts residency training programs, undocumented immigrants, non-immigrant aliens, scholarships, loans, and loan repayments. And this bill was also chaptered as Chapter 786. And the last bill that I'll mention this morning is Senate Bill 1348, Senator Canella's bill related to licensure applications, military service. That bill was also chaptered.
Excuse me, Kay, when you say chapter, do you mean that was accepted, or?
Yes, that means it was signed and it's now in law, and that's the way to identify the bill when you're doing legislative research for it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes your presentation?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kay.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Moving on to item 9.0, report of the Intervention Discipline Committee, turning over to the chairperson, Cindy Klein.
Good morning. Oh, you're gonna do that way, Don, okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead and start, you guys. Introduce yourselves first.
Shannon Silverling, Chief Complaint Intake and Investigations.
Hello, Beth Scott, Chief of Intervention, Discipline, and Probation.
Don?
Hello, I'm Don Walker. I'm the Intervention Program Manager.
Good morning. Start. Go ahead, let's start.
Okay, agenda item 9.1, Complaint Intake and Investigations. So the program updates for complaint intake, we are currently fully staffed, no vacant positions. As of October 25th, the BRN has received 2,827 complaints for this current fiscal year. There are currently 1,002 pending complaints in the complaint intake unit. All of those are assigned to a desk analyst. Of those 1,002, 8 cases are over a year old. 555 of them are applicants. 324 are query complaints, convictions, and 123 are public complaints. Effective July 1st, 2016, all the California licensed furnishing prescribing practitioners were required to be registered with the Cures 2.0, and we're currently working on processes to ensure compliance with that. All furnishing RNs can find information and helpful links regarding the Cures 2.0 on our website under the What's New section. We've also just completed an audit by DCA of our Complaint Intake and Investigations Unit in regards to the compliance with CPEI, and a report will be provided at a later date. CPEI is the Consumer Protection Enforcement Initiative. We currently have 195 active experts across California. We're continuing to recruit RNs for expert witness in all areas. However, we do need laser Botox, anesthetist, midwives, and nurse practitioners are the most needed right now.
Thank you.
And if anyone's interested, they can go to our website and fill out an application under the Enforcement Expert Witness tab. Any questions on complaint intake? Okay, investigations. We are fully staffed in investigations. So that's really nice that both units completely fully staffed. As of October 25th, there were approximately 25 BRN investigations that were over a year old and approximately 69 DFI investigations over a year old. I've supplied the monthly numbers for this current fiscal year. I'll just go over the current averages. So complaints closed, we've closed, BRN has closed 161 complaints this fiscal year, or investigations. We have we have opened 161. We've closed 175. Our average days to complete a case is 285 days. We're averaging $3,083 per case, and our average hours per case is 35. Total case hours for this fiscal year is 6,013, and our total cost so far is $529,685. Cases opened for Division of Investigation, we've opened 107. They've closed 91 cases. Average days to completion is 349. Average cost per case is $7,333. Average case hours per case is 43. Their total hours for this fiscal year is 4,090 for a total cost of $691,125. Any questions?
So how does this compare to last year?
Last year, we're about the same. BRN has, because we've been fully staffed for well over a year now with our field investigators, we've been able to consistently maintain our numbers.
And closing of cases the same?
Closing of cases, we've actually increased. Our numbers have increased over this last year. I think our highest, we were around 80 cases closure for our highest month.
I meant time of closure, I'm sorry.
Time of closure, we continue to get better, it seems, but it depends on the types of cases we're closing that month. It does change the average But we look like we're around anywhere from 30 to 40 hours per case given the month.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Beth Scott. I'm going to speak to you this morning about probation and discipline. So probation and discipline and cite and fine as of this morning are completely fully staffed also. We have a new discipline analyst that started a couple weeks ago and is in training. And then we have replaced our cite and fine analyst and our 3 office tech positions. Probation is fully staffed, so that's really positive for the flow of our cases. The discipline unit will also, in the next month or so, begin using the cloud system for transmission of our cases to the Attorney General's office, which will speed up the cases and have cost savings in copying the cases, because we just have to scan them, and also postage. So we're hoping with our volume to see a significant positive savings in that area.
Okay.
Our statistics for this fiscal year thus far, we have adopted 452 decisions. We have served 323 pleadings. We have served 43 petitions to revoke probation, and our executive officer has accepted 93 surrenders. On October 25th, the probation unit participated and presented at our nurse support group facilitator conference. Dawn will be giving you some more details of this conference, but it was really well received. Some good information was transmitted. Very positive day spent there. Our statistics in probation, our probation population is 1,590, which includes active and told, the told probationers being those that live outside of California. Told probationers are 350. The rest of them are active in-state probationers. So each probation monitor at this time has about 137 on their caseload. Including the told, they would have about 176. There's 64 early terminations pending and 9 modifications of probation pending to be heard by the board. That's all the information I have on these units. Do you have any questions on either of?
I have a comment. It's interesting to me to see that the chemical dependency, the number is 815 and drug screening is 619 and actual practice is 300. I just find that really, because normally you would think that there'd be more practice issue in comparison to drugs, but I guess the drugs and it all goes together, never mind.
Yeah. Okay. Are you just speaking about the numbers in general or the numbers related to drug screening and chemical dependency?
The breakdown is.
Well, the breakdown with the chemical dependency, the breakdown there are the rule outs. If you have a nurse on probation and it's dependent upon whether the mental health says they're chemically dependent or not, then the drug testing is going to come into play. So that's why the fluctuation in that number there, but does that answer your question?
So many more people with chemical dependency.
Yes, that's true. That's
practice. In a way, I guess that's good, but that saddens me on the other side as well.
Yeah, that's just the way that it's been since I've been here. So. Any other questions?
No? Any questions from the public?
No. Don Walker.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yes. Are there any questions from the public? Any public comments? Any more board comments? Well, at this time, we would like to show a large amount of appreciation for Beth Scott, our chief deputy. We are sad because she is leaving, and I've done everything to beg her to stay. And she has denied me. And I told her we would look into getting her an extremely large increase. Mr. Malel would be reaching out to.
Wait, in smog or in the weather? Or what
I
kind of
didn't
increase
hear
in
that
what?
part. No.
He would be looking to supplement whatever you get. We will miss you, and they are getting a very valuable asset.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed my time at the
I don't
BOA.
think that's all. I think the other board members would like to say something
I'd
too.
like to say that you're the optimal professional. I've
Thank
been
you.
in government service as an appointee on the medical board and on the board of governors of the state bar, but you are the top in your field.
I
I've
appreciate
never
that.
met
Thank you.
anybody as professional as you. With all due respect to all of our professionals here, they're all wonderful, but your service is way above the average.
Thank you very much, and I'm very happy this is on tape. No.
Beth, I've been to your office, and you're very hardworking as the amount of papers in your office. Sometimes you can't walk in there. And you're in the office very early and very late. I'm really gonna miss you.
Thank you very much. It is very organized, according to the way I work.
Okay, and it's okay, because your method of madness works,
Exactly, I know where it
right?
is.
But the door's always open, right, for her to come back, guys? Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say that
That's upon review.
Yeah.
No, she is.
that I really appreciate all the nice words. I have enjoyed my time since 2009, but you're being left in very good hands. You have the staff that have been here and understand what's going on, and so you're being left in good hands. But I do appreciate your words, and I will miss you.
Beth, I just want to say that I've learned an awful lot from you, and I very much appreciate working with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Absolutely, best of everything to you.
Are there any other questions? All right.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, committee members, Dr. Morris. My name is Don Walker. I'm the Intervention Program Manager, and I'll be reporting on agenda items 9.3 and 9.3.1. Agenda item 9.3.1, Intervention Evaluation Committee members / new appointments. Excuse me one second. Agenda item 9.3, staffing. The intervention program currently has a vacancy for an office technician, and we are currently screening applications for this position. Program update. The intervention program hosted the annual Intervention Liaison Committee meeting on October 24, 2016 in Sacramento. Attendees included board member Cynthia Klein, the Assistant Executive Officer Stacy Berumen, the Chief of Discipline, Intervention and Probation Beth Scott, the Intervention Program Manager, myself, Don Walker, Intervention Program staff, members, Maximus Project Director Virginia Matthews, and case managers. In addition, the chairperson for each Intervention Evaluation Committee member, each individual chairperson for the Intervention Evaluation Committees, 2 public members, and a nurse support group facilitator were in attendance. The Intervention Liaison Committee meeting is held annually to maintain the continuity and integrity of the program, in addition to providing a forum to discuss pertinent policy proposals that support the enhancement of the intervention program. In addition to the Intervention Evaluation Committee meeting, the intervention program staff hosted the Nurse Support Group Facilitators Conference on October 25, 2016. This conference is conducted to develop greater communication between the facilitators, board staff, and Maximus and the intervention program contractor. This year, there was positive discussion regarding the facilitators' roles, responsibilities, and their individuals' concerns. This open discussion was facilitated between myself, intervention staff, probation monitors, Lisa Hall, Joshua Rushing, and probation manager Elizabeth Elias. I would like to take this moment and to acknowledge the Intervention Evaluation Committee members, as well as the nurse support group facilitators, as their professionalism and selfless service is an absolute integral part to the success of the intervention program. We thank you. In continuous effort to reach out to nurses in need and to provide community outreach, Virginia Matthews, Maximus Project Manager, presented information on November 9th at Dominican Hospital in Santa Cruz. The outreach presentation was conducted for newly graduated nurses during their orientation. Intervention Evaluation Committees. There are currently 2 physician member vacancies at this time, one in San Jose and one in Burbank. There is currently 1 RN member vacancy in Burbank, IEC number 8, and there is currently 1 public member vacancy in Orange County, IEC number 4. Statistics. The a summary for July 1st, 2016 through August 31st, 2016 is, as of August 31st, 2016, there have been approximately 2,107 successful completions. Are there any questions at this time regarding agenda item 9.3? This concludes my reporting on agenda item 9.3. I'll be going to agenda item 9.3.1. Intervention Evaluation Committee members, new appointments. I'd like to recommend the following individuals for appointment to the Intervention Evaluation Committees. Rhonda Sakata, Public Member, Orange County, number 4. Sarah Dahm, Physician Member, Burbank, number 8. David Rodance, Physician Member, San Jose, IEC number 7. I'd also like to take this moment for informational purposes only to report the following resignations. Anna Siders, RN Member, Ontario number 9. Melody Law, Physician Member, Oakland, IEC number 13. I'd like to thank them for their service and wish them luck in their further pursuits.
We need a motion for the appointment, Don.
Yes, we do.
So as chair of the Intervention and Discipline Committee, I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointments of Rhonda Sicato, Sarah Dahm, and David Rodras.
I second it.
Okay, I'd like to call for the question start.
Is there any public comment?
I'm sorry, any public comment? Okay, call for the question starting on my far right, please.
Elizabeth Woods, yes.
Trendy Phillips, yes.
Michael Jackson, yes.
Ray Malal, yes.
Cindy Klein, yes.
Barbara Yaroslavsky, yes.
Okay, so moved. Don?
Are there any further questions at this time? I'd like to clarify, initially when I said we had our conference on October 24th, it was the actual Intervention Liaison Committee meeting, so excuse me on that. So I'd like to get that clarification noted. And that concludes my reporting for today's agenda items 9.3 and 9.3.1. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes.
Item 10.0, report on the Nursing Practice Committee. We'll turn it over to Chair Trendy Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there a comment? Sure.
Sure. We offered it.
Well, it went by too fast.
No problem.
Catherine Hughes, SEIU, registered nurse. Regarding the drug testing, my understanding is the nurses that are in intervention or trying to find that thing. Like there's 9 nurses, and they do have required drug testing. My understanding is their requirement for drug testing is going to increase. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Dawn, if you could come up and speak to her question,
Sorry,
because
Dawn.
we were discussing this and that. She's talking about the increased frequency of drug testing
Okay.
based on our standardized guidelines, I think.
Right, but the standardized guidelines say that they can be tested 24 to whatever, so they're not required to be tested to the full extent of the nurses that are in for substance abuse. So my question is, what's the justification of having a nurse that's in for mental health reasons having to do drug testing the same as someone who's in for substance abuse? Is there a reason for that, a justification for that? Because it doesn't make sense to me.
So you're saying from the standpoint of just purely mental health, why they're tested only 24 times a year?
Why they're going to be required to test more than 24 times a year? Because isn't that what you just said?
Standardized guidelines.
Who just said? I didn't catch that part. I wasn't
She was questioning the testing. And remember, this was discussed at the ILC, so maybe we can enlighten her.
Right. Our position is, as a board, regarding testing. So what you have is a situation where you have probation monitoring as well as you have intervention monitoring. And for sake of, let's say, efficiency as it relates to testing, you don't want to have a situation where you're watering down the integrity of the program and testing at a lower level. So we have to establish, because in theory, when you say testing 24 times for a mental health participant, you really don't need to test them at all. In a sense, if if you're concerned about
But
that.
the law says we do.
Correct.
So,
So we draw the line at 36 times.
yes, rather than 24,
Correct.
because it's easier for you.
Because instituting the uniform standards is a challenge. It's a challenge in many different ways. And it also strikes to having the flagship program in the state of California, it strikes the integrity of that program. Because as we know, with mental illness, there's also the risk of self-medication, and we want to ensure that the integrity of our program holds up under any scrutiny. And to be consistent, we feel that those added 12 tests add that extra layer of, let's say, credibility and security to our program.
So I just want to clarify, you're saying that a nurse that has a mental health issue is more likely to self-medicate, so they need to be tested to the same degree as someone who's already in the program for a substance abuse self-medicating instant.
No, I didn't say it's more likely.
Because if they are tested 24 times a year and they come up positive sometime in that 24 times, then I would agree with you, they're most likely self-medicating and we need to address that. But it seems like we're throwing nurses with mental health issues into the drug abuse problem before they've even proven to you or us that it's a problem, and they're already under financial duress to get through the program, and now we're asking them, even though they've never tested positive before, that they're going to have to test 12 more times.
Well, to
No.
answer your question, I didn't say that they're most likely to self-medicate. There's the risk of self-medication, as well as we don't know that they haven't tested positive.
Well,
That's
if they're
it.
testing 24 times a year, at some point they're being tested.
They are being tested.
And
But
they,
here's
if they come back positive, I'm assuming that something else is being done.
the-
Can
right,
I make just a quick mention here? That both of our programs, probation and intervention, are public safety programs. And they are under the uniform standards for testing, as well as how we see fit to protect the public. The amount of times that we test a nurse is not, we can test a nurse 365 times a year if we choose to, and we don't set an amount of, 36 or 50. We test at the legal instance of the uniform standards, and then we adjust should we need to if we have maybe, let's just say, low-level positives or some indication that there might be a problem. But I think that, putting out there that we're going to test across the board at this certain level, we're going to meet the legal standard, but I don't think it's appropriate to talk about how many times we're testing, whether it's in the intervention program or the probation program, because like I said, the board can test at 365 times a year. We're meeting the legal standard, and anything after that is the discretion of the board for public safety. So I think it would be more appropriate if you want to discuss a policy to maybe put it on an agenda and talk about it, but I'm not sure it's appropriate, in this forum to argue about it in a public comment section of a board meeting.
Okay, so SEIU, Nurse Alliance of California, I'm going to speak on behalf of the nurses that we represent. You're absolutely right. It is a public safety. We totally support that. We've completely supported the intervention and probation program from day one, since I've been with the Nurse Alliance since 2009. By law, you only have to test the nurses that are in the program for mental health reasons 24 times. So if you chose to test them 22 times, you would not be meeting the statute. If you test them 24 times, you're meeting the statute. So I'd like to just go on record that it's a concern of ours. They have not tested positive, and you're applying a blanket drug testing program to nurses that have not proven to need this blanket drug testing program, and it is concerning to us. So
Yeah, we
we
have-
don't need, I understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
I don't agree, and we
Yeah.
have some concerns around nurses being tested for mental health, for drug tested when they're in there for strictly mental health reasons, either because it makes it easier for us to do it blanket, or because we think they might at some point self-medicate, when there's still a minimum of 24 times they have to be tested, regardless of whether they've ever tested positive or not. So I'd just like to let you all know that we've always supported you, but this is a problem, and this is very concerning for us.
I do understand that, and I appreciate your comments, and I believe what Don was getting at, he was saying the same thing I was saying, it's public protection. We have very few participants in the intervention program that are mental health. We have lots that are dual diagnosis, so it's a very, very minimal that are strictly mental health at this point. So, but I hear your concerns, and I think the board hears your concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Any more public comment? All right, that concludes the section of the, now we're at item 10.0.
Yeah, good morning, and Jeanette, thank you for being here to begin our presentation for nursing practice. So we'll be doing 10.1.
Thank you. My name's Jeanette Wackerly. I'm the Supervising Nursing Education Consultant in the Sacramento office. Advanced Practice Registered Nurse Regulation Proposal and vote on whether to recommend continuing the rulemaking file. I'm going to read the subject matter now, if that's all right with you. The regulatory proposal amending Article 8, Nurse Practitioner 1480 to 1485, and to add Section 1483.1, Requirements for Nurse Practitioner Education Programs, 1483.2, Requirement for Reporting Nurse Practitioner Education Programs, and 1486, Requirements for Clinical Practice Experience for Nurse Practitioner students enrolled in out-of-state nurse practitioner programs. There was no public testimony at the hearing on September 19th,